Hi everyone, it's Lisa Loring, and I'm coming in to do a reading for the weekend. Actually, I think I'll do it for an overtone for the weekend. I haven't done any readings on the dailies, except for I did do one the other night, but admittedly it was post anesthesia and I was pretty disconnected and I had a migraine coming in. So yeah, it was funny. The cards all came up about being disconnected, and I couldn't have been more disconnected in that reading. So I didn't. I'm not posting that one. That was probably geez, yeah, Wednesday night. It was Wednesday. It was Wednesday afternoon. So what's today? Today's Friday. So let's do a weekend reading. I'd like to use a deck that I haven't really used. It's the Constellation Tarot deck. Created by Irina Semenova. I haven't used this deck. My daughter, certainly not on camera. My daughter gave it to me for Christmas this past year. I like it, but I haven't used it a lot. So let's check out. Let's see what's got going on. How are you guys doing out there? I hope you're doing well. I'm sending my love to you and many, many blessings. All of our lives have definitely shown us in various ways. You know, we've talked about that a lot. Various ways how we can work with the energies. So I'll go back to one of the things I did want to talk about in the I did talk about, I should say, in the recording that I did the other night that I'm not posting, was about the cards that came up that were not part of the reading I did with the Gregory Scott Tarot for the week overtone. I'll try to find them. One of them was the Nine of Pentacles card. So the Nine of Pentacles made another appearance in the cards that came up. There were cards that just flipped out as I was getting ready to do that reading. There were cards that I had the Crystal Visions deck in the bag, and these cards just kind of like fell out of the box and super randomly. There's never a random with the tarot or anything that we do in life. We think there is, but it's not. Another one was the Ace of Pentacles. That was another card that came up. I know another one was the Queen of Cups. That was one that came up. It wasn't the Six of Pentacles. It wasn't the World. It wasn't the Three. It wasn't the Nine of Cups. But they couldn't have been more different cards than the energies that we had to deal with. Here's the Queen of Cups. That was one of them. So we'll bring that one out. And if I can find what the other one was, I'll bring it out for sure. But one of the things that was really remarkable to me in that reading was about the fact that those cards couldn't have been more different than the cards that came up in the Gregory Scott Tarot. So in the Gregory Scott Tarot, there was really a lot of fear and a lot of bouncing back and forth between that Nine of Pentacles abundance and between this Nine of Swords worry. So it continues to highlight. Yeah, I can't remember. There were 4 cards that came up, but it continues to highlight basically, what energy do you want to be in? Do you really want to be in that Nine of Swords energy? Admitting that you're there is actually a huge part of not being there. Admitting that you are in that place. But was it the Tower? No, it wasn't the Tower. Yeah, I can't remember now which one it was. I'll kind of page through as I talk, but essentially, we can either choose to be in that place, but a huge part of it is admitting that you are in that place of worry. You can't just put a happy face on everything all the time. But the Queen of Cups came up to show that we are actually in better control of our emotions than we give ourselves credit for, more often than we realize. But we tend to, we're challenged by getting dragged into the undertow. Yeah, the undertow. She's all water, right? The undertow of being in that worry energy. That's the energy that we know. So we are very preconditioned in our DNA, and it's only relatively recently as a species that we do have a grasp and and an ability to command these higher functioning, higher reasoning faculties that help us move out of this kind of fight or flight mentality. And it is, do we want to be in survivor mentality, or do you want to be in thriving mentality? And that's definitely the message. And so it was like these two that came up first, and I really do wish that I could find, it might have been the Six of Pentacles. I'll page through, I'll kind of flip through one more time. I can't rightly remember exactly which one it was now for some reason. And maybe I'm just not meant to, but it's all good. But at any rate, it is about, you know, whether we want to be in that survival or thriving. And that's pretty much simply the message that we need. That's the takeaway on that. So I invite you to, in those moments of fear, in those moments when it is like easier to be in that worry energy, when that's your natural inclination, look up and say, okay, but what's the other option here? And this time is all about innovation and grasping the golden ring, that one ring to bring you up into a more abundance. So mastering your emotions, like the Queen of Cups, grabbing the golden ring and going into a place of abundance rather than fear. So I'm not going to talk too much more about that. I think that message is what it is, and we'll leave it there. So I have a lot of fun decks out. I don't know how long this message will be, but we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to do it for you. And again, I am I'm dealing with a little bit of a migraine today. I did have surgery on Tuesday, and I'm on the other side of that and in a healing place. But I was already in a healing place before it. You know, again, I chose to be, it wasn't even a conscious choice. It just was. I like that. It's nice when we have those moments where we could be in that place of fear and we're not. But that was a win for me. I could have definitely been in a very different place, right? You know? So let's check in on the Constellation Tarot. This is a very new deck for me, and I like to work with it a little bit. I think I'll try to work with it going forward to see how it feels. And I just want to clear the energies, clear my own energy from these cards to provide a reading for the collective. This is for all star signs, all zodiac signs, for the weekend of August 21st through the 23rd. So I draw in the energy of all archangels, my guides, guides of the collective, to provide a beautiful message for us to work with the energies over the course of this weekend. They give us guidance and the best way to live in love and light and happiness, and to bring in the parts of ourselves that we don't always admit. That was another message that came up in the reading that I didn't post, was about how to admit and to bring in the dark parts of ourselves, to just look at them, to balance out the energies, to balance out it's a squirrel not too happy with one of my cats. Oh, he's not too happy. To balance out those energies in us, to bring them to the table, to bring them to light. It doesn't mean that you have to, you know, be in those energies of jealousy, of abandonment, of, you know, anger, of all the things that we don't like about ourselves, that we don't want to admit, that those feelings that we have, but to admit that those feelings do exist. Because the more we don't admit it, the more they persist, right? Seven of Wands. So yeah, you can be in a place where, you know, you do feel like you have to, you know, defend yourself. And, you know, Seven of Wands energy is definitely about, like, there's a lot of flame. This is definitely, you know, see a lot of flames in this. The Wands is about passion, about drive, about, you know, moving forward with our energies and how we express ourselves in the world and how we express the things about which we are passionate. And rising above, right? This one is about rising above the fray. So how do we rise above the fray of the things that are, you know, maybe that are dark above that, to at least admit that they're there, but then, you know, rise above and to incorporate all of those things into the way that we move forward. We can't segment ourselves off anymore. We can't segment, you know, the various energies, because they're all good. They're all good. Hey, honey. Get your Benadryl?
Yes, I did.
Good. We can't, just keep barreling forward and ignoring that there are things that need attention. You know? We can't, how are we taking care of ourselves? Are you listening to this? I'm thinking about what's come to mind just now is that are we listening to so many things that we can't come above the fray, or are we actually rising above victorious and we're able to defend and to speak towards with conviction, with good clear articulation, with our passions in check, with divine collaboration, speak to our standpoint and viewpoints on things above and beyond what other people are telling us, or in kind of this unshakable way? Are we able to do that? I don't know. There's that energy. If you listen to, and we've got one card that's coming out here, Venus. This is the Empress card in the traditional tarot. So this is the number 3 card, Venus card, to speak to our hearts. Again, speaking of passion, things that we value. Venus isn't just about love and sex and all of that stuff. She is those things, but and the embodiment of the divine feminine. Although she's the embodiment of both, Venus is the ruling planet of both Taurus, which is an earth energy and feminine, and Libra, which is an air sign and masculine. People don't always think of Libra as being masculine, but it is. It's actually an air sign. And so Venus is the embodiment of both. And you think of Libra as feminine because it tends to be the softer of the 3 air signs. Gemini is also pretty soft feeling as well, but Libra is definitely soft feeling, but it's cardinal energy. It's that initial directive of our love, our values, our desire to be in partnership. Regardless of what partnership means for you. It can be relationship, absolutely. That's the first thing everyone thinks about. My relationships. But it's whatever relationships do feel like a partnership for you. It can be your business partnership. It's your relationship to yourself, which should always be the first partnership that's in place. It's relationship to anything that you feel connected to. So that's the central card. So it's about listening to what we value. What are the things that we value? And to teach us to value all parts. Yes, to rise above the fray, to rise above what maybe we're being told in all of these kinds of, I don't know why I'm seeing this almost in a swordsy sort of way, this 7 of Wands in this particular version. But I see it as, letting our passions rise above and going with that one, combining our energies with the divine. I'm going to let that sit on me a little bit and not talk too much more about it. And I'm looking for one more card to round out the weekend. One more card to round out the weekend, and then we'll pick from some other decks. Venus. Our love, the things we value, our feeling of abundance, our feeling of beauty. What is beautiful to you? Could be different for everybody. It's, the beauty way for you. What is the path of beauty for you? That resonates with me very strongly. What is your path of beauty? Your path of truth. Venus is truth. Can't really deny her. And that's one of the things that Libra is known for, truth. Same thing with Taurus. They're all about, what is the most valuable. A Taurian doesn't go for anything that's like half-assed or half, poorly made. They're always going to go for quality. What's the way of quality for you? Listen to your heart, because only you know what that is. Only you can stand up for what that is. And what's the 3rd card that's going to come forward for us to round out this weekend for the collective consciousness? Is the other blessed message that we have for this weekend? Ooh, lots of cards. The Sun card. I guess we'll take these 3 just flipped over. We'll take those 3. I guess we're going to have 6, not just 3. All right, so what came out was the Six of Wands, and I felt this energy a lot when I was looking at that 7. I felt the 6 a lot. Again, the card of victory. But this is like this is that 6. So the number 6 is a number of Venus. It's the number of Libra, and it's double that third house of Taurus. Although 10 is the number of Taurus, really. But the 6 comes right before the 7. So we have a lot of victory here, and that came in the upright. What came in the reverse is the 3 of Swords. We always like to see that. And although these swords are actually pointing upright, which I don't love, and then the Sun. So again, a victory over heartbreak and being in your own abundance, being in your own soul. We're closing out the Leo season today. Tomorrow we go into Virgo season. Happy birthday, Virgos. And happy birthday that has been for all of the Leos out there. Leo season is so great. Because it does teach us to be in our heart, to follow our values. Although Venus is not its ruling planet, the Sun is. We have that here in the major arcana as well. So we have 2 major arcana cards. One is the central and one is a bookend and part of this little trio that dropped out. So I'm going to angle the camera down so we can look at those a little more closely. And I'll turn them around so you can see them as well. So we have the 7 of Wands. This is a card of, again, standing, coming above and beyond. So we're coming in this place of maybe a little bit of a defensive mode at the beginning of the weekend. And that's what I'm getting a feel. I'm getting a feel of, from where we are now to where we are moving forward. And I felt that when I pulled out that card. I felt that definitely. This might be where we are. We're feeling, and then we're coming off a week of where there is that imbalance. That is that not that way. Though there was a 5 of Wands energy that kind of cast over. I think the 5 of Wands might have been that final card. There was a 5 of Wands energy that came in where some of our communications were not feeling very clear. Our expression of our passions were not really able. We weren't really able to move those passions and those ideas about where we wanted to place our passion forward. We weren't really able to express our passion super well and in that articulate kind of way. And so we arrive here on the Friday and maybe even into Saturday, being in that place of, feeling that we need to rise above the fray to sort of maintain our boundaries, to maintain our own sense of righteousness, of what is right, above and beyond what other people are, the messages that we might be getting. So it's not just the messages from other people. It might be messages that what you're seeing, you're hearing, you're reading. And this is, again, that toxic energy. The sisters came up again in that reading that I didn't post. And again, this is more of that, even more of that, needing to just divest yourself of what feels like misinformation, like toxic energy, just to, and the more I see the card, I realize I've been reading it kind of in a very, because I actually, like I said, that card actually triggers me a lot. I'm reading it in a triggery way myself. And what I do see is more of it being, again, just this morning, about what are you ingesting? Just continually to listen to your own truth, to maintain your boundaries. And that doesn't mean that you have to maintain them in this like fuck you kind of way. It really can be about just maintaining your boundaries, again, in this softer kind of way. This isn't the 7 of Wands or 7 of Swords. It's the 7 of Wands, which is about just really continually looking at what's coming towards you, to use that kind of energy in a way that allows you to take in the information, but maybe not so much, to take it in and realize what doesn't work, what doesn't feel good, what does feel toxic, but not in a way that you have to push it away in this super abrasive way, but more in this Venusian kind of way, being like, that isn't actually a good fit for me. This doesn't feel right. And I don't have to I can have a hard stop on it, but it doesn't have to be such a hard stop that the other entity feels it in this shoved kind of way. It is about like developing better communication. And the card of, and Taurus is very good at that. Libra's even better at it. So, when you're in Libra, it's all about that balance. Before I pulled these cards, what I kept seeing in the bottom of the crystal visions was the Justice card. Again, another card of Libra, and about being in balance with the way we communicate. communication to ourselves is a place where we want to clean that up. So when we are communicating and expressing our boundaries to others, we are communicating in a way that is more diplomatic, plain and simple. And diplomacy doesn't mean that you're kowtowing to the ideas and the thoughts of other people and allowing everyone to run roughshod over you, which can be the negative aspect of Libra. And sometimes you see that, they're wishy-washy and they're letting everybody kind of run all over them. That's where, that's the negative aspect. Every sign has their negative aspect, right? You can go too far in one direction no matter who you are. But that more Venusian side, that more withholding, that more holding of boundaries that is in beauty, that is in true elegance, is the ability to maintain those boundaries, maintain your sense of right, maintain your sovereignty without it being this hard shove. But it's just this quiet maintenance of where you stand. And that's where you're truly unshakable. When you're shoving things back, that's where things aren't working. And that means, that also suggests that you're not actually in your full confidence. And then with the cards that fell out in the threesome here and the trio, we have the Six of Wands. So this is that card of victory now. So here we come to, instead of this sort of that more singular thing over all the others, this is that more collaborative feeling. Everything is in concert here, rising above. So although this is a step down from the Seven of Wands, it's actually, in this reading, a step up. It's actually a step up, and you're moving up, and you're moving in concert, and you're taking, everyone's going in the right direction because you've been able to maintain your boundaries. With this kind of feeling, you're here rather than here. And that's what brings us to, why the Three of Swords is upside down, is because although the swords are pointing up, instead of them pointing down and stabbing into the 3D and stabbing into our hearts, our souls, here we have that sun energy, instead of them being pointing down and impaling us, impaling our emotions, our mental capacities, and incapacitating us, they're actually bringing us to a place where we can actually be in the brilliance of this sun. You can see that it's really showing it brilliantly today, because we're working in a more collaborative kind of way, where our thoughts, our minds, our hearts are all in concert, whether that be with ourselves, we're really on board with ourselves, and therefore we're able to take these swords, turn them around, and actually use them, I don't know, as skewers in a barbecue. You know what I mean? Rather than something that we're cutting something up. And we're able to work together and take these and turn them into three ideas. I'm really struck by the three and how it looks kind of like a trinity, a holy trinity of the mind, the heart, and the emotional body. Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. However you want to look at that. Working in beauty towards what our souls actually want, the power of the sun. So this is something that we might be working through as we work through the course of the weekend. And then the bottom of the deck is Jupiter, which is, oh gosh, what is this card? The number 7 card. Oh gosh, I think that might be Justice. Oh, that's so funny. I told you Justice was coming up. No, that's 11 card, the Libra card. Oh, actually, this is the number 4 card. Oh, yeah, IV. Jupiter. So that's funny that they give Jupiter the Emperor card. So you're in your sovereignty. You're in sovereignty. That's the Death card. Yeah, you're in sovereignty. I just assumed that I didn't notice that it was actually the number 4 card, which in the Major Arcana is again we've got another Major Arcana turning up. We also have Death in the reverse. Actually, does this whole deck upside down? I think it does. I think I turned it wrong side. No, actually it's not. We have Jupiter, which is you're in your emotional sovereignty. Pairs up really well with that. This guy has people working for him. This magnifies, and Jupiter magnifies anything it touches. Be careful with that power. But the Emperor knows how to wield his power. And you don't care if you're a man or a woman, wear that Emperor robe. We have the Emperor and the Empress showing up here in this reading. Now the Death card And the Ten of Pentacles came in the reverse at the bottom of the deck as well. So the Death card in reverse is, yeah, we're not really so worried about, is this death in this major in this one? I just want to be sure before I speak to that. I don't want to go crazy. I see that as, yeah, the Death card, and then the Ten of Pentacles. So the Ten of Pentacles is in reverse. So again, we're not worried. I would say in these, we're not worried about, you know, where the money is or where our abundance is. We're not worried about this at all. I don't see this as like, oh, our money's all falling out. I mean, you can take that to another degree. You can go too far with that. Yes, of course. You can't transform, you know, be careful how you work with that energy. I would think maybe that the only caveat here is I would be careful how you use this energy and don't go too far with it. But that brings us back to this balance. There's a lot of balancing acts going on here. A lot of balancing acts. All right, so what do I want to work with? You know, I don't work with this deck very often. And you know what? I'm not going to work with it now. I don't feel like I want to work with that one now. What's the deck that I want to work with to cap this off? You know what? I want to work with the Rumi deck. I haven't worked with this one. I don't think much at all in our readings, but I'd like to work with it here. That's the one I feel drawn to pick up. All right, so in the Rumi Oracle card deck, what is the commentary that you have for us, Brother Rumi, on this reading for the Divine Collective? What is the message that you would like for everyone to receive as we work through the weekend of August 21st through the 23rd? What is the message on this reading, or the overall tone that you'd like for us to hold on to and meditate upon as we work through Friday, August 21st to Sunday, August 23rd. Messages for the Divine Collective. Came in the reverse. But it is the number 3 card, which is the number of Jupiter, actually, in Sagittarius. The dissolving light. Again, all of this brilliant sun energy. Jupiter, Venus. That's brilliant, right? Look at that. It's gorgeous. So let's see, the number 3 card, the dissolving light. Now it came in the reverse. So let's read it. I died as mineral and became a plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as animal and I became human. Why should I fear anything? When was I ever less by dying? Going back to what we were talking about, what does need to die? What do we not need to listen to? What's toxic? What actually do we need to just divest ourselves of? What do we need to rise above? That death card has come. Right? What are these things that we valued so much that we do need to actually let them go? We still might want to hang on. So maybe that's something that's coming up there. I don't know if that resonates with anybody who will see this. Dare to take my hand and become set alight with holy fire, my cherished one. Step forward with me, let us burn together, dissembled in the light that cannot be extinguished. This is the light that burns with such incandescent truth that no falsehood can withstand its audacious vibrancy. Come with me now to the light. Together we shall melt into truth. There is a light so intense, so powerful, that nothing other than itself, its own truth, can exist in its presence. It is the sacred seed, the star of your being lit up from within. It is the light that never goes out. It is the light that is so powerful it is beyond duality of light and dark, cannot ever be extinguished or diminished. And quite simply, beyond all logic, just is. So just being. Certainly no lie or deception, no boundary or defense can remain intact in its presence. The blazing divinity of this light sears through any pretense. annihilates illusions, and takes us into stark experience of divine truth. The blazing divinity of this light sears through any pretense, annihilates illusions, and takes us into stark experience of divine truth. It is gentleness, and yet it cannot be overcome. It is enduring power, and yet it is tender. Though you seek the divine and even know it as love, you also know that it is fierce, wild, inexplicable, and demanding beyond all measure. It wants you completely, utterly, without condition. There will be times in your life, such as now, when there is something not worthy of you that must be released. This is a falsehood, a lie, or deception of some that you have come to believe about yourself, your life, or perhaps even another. You may know what that deception is, or it may be about to be unveiled. It is not a cause for fear or concern, but for celebration. An illusion has or soon will be released, and you shall become freer, free in a way that only truth can provide. This oracle comes to you as a sign of that which is to come, and soon. The beloved divine presence is calling to you, igniting within your deepest being so that it may have its way with you. The divine wishes to live through you and into the world, reaching into the hearts of many and igniting those hearts into greater life. It is a clever and insatiable lover. It will stop at nothing until the entire human race is restored to the wild, divine freedom of ecstatic, divine reunion, completely and utterly ignited in love. And so the great lover, the divine, calls for you to enter into the white-hot field of its passionate presence. There will be sizzle and burn. It cannot be otherwise. In the height of summer, you cast aside the layers of clothing you wear in the winter. This is natural. You do not think twice about it. As you approach the radiant sun of divinity, your emotional and psychological layers are to be shed too, for they are too heavy for the heat of the great spiritual sun. What cannot stand the heavenly heat is to be cast aside swiftly by conscious choice, or shall simply burn up, dissolving in the light and melting away. What is left shall be what is true. So here is your guidance, sweet lover of the great beloved. Give it up. The smallness, the conditions, the fears, the doubts, the lack of reverence for yourself and life. The belief that somehow things are not okay or aren't going to work out. That is all a paltry attempt at truth. You are coming into a truth now that is far more worthy of you. A truth with a capital T. The big truth. Love. Trust. Surrender. This is about a sacred shedding without fear or holding back. Cast aside whatever would hold you back, rather than free you to fly into your divine destiny. You are not to be the same from this moment on. That is the holy word. The word inscribed in living divine fire in your sacred heart. This oracle brings you guidance. Trust in your changing perspective and perceptions. Don't hold on to what you once believed in or thought to be true. Allow yourself to be shown another version of events, another way of perceiving. Don't focus on what is not working in your current estimation of things, for that is nothing more than a passing opinion. You are being given an opportunity to see and know yourself, others, and particular life circumstances very differently. Embrace it. Don't resist what is being shown to you. For even if there are some struggles in adjusting your view at first, ultimately, this change in perception will free you and bring you more deeply into the wellspring of your own inner peace and happiness, your own sovereignty. Don't worry about these things that seemingly are breaking your heart. This came in the reverse, remember. Don't worry about this stuff. Hold your line with grace. Here's a sacred honoring ritual. Place both hands on your heart and say the following aloud. The eternal light of Rumi burns through that which is unworthy, and frees me into unconditional love and truth now. I am blessed by the grace of this sacred brother, and I open my heart to the tender fire of passionate presence. Through merciful compassion and my own free will, I ask to be shown the greater truth that will set me free. So be it. Relax with your hands on your heart for as long as it feels good. When you are ready, simply open your eyes. You have completed your sacred honoring ritual. You can repeat this anytime you feel the need to let go of a self-limiting behavior, judgment of a person or situation that drains rather than leaves you feeling vibrant and free, or beliefs that deplete and depress you rather than opening you up to loving and endless possibilities. This ritual is a way to tap into supportive grace to assist you in that conscious surrender. You will be blessed, beloved. So this card came in the reverse, so this might be a little difficult for some of us to tap into. I love this card, though. This is like amazing. Because when you look into this card, I don't know if you can see the depths that this card continues to bring into all the inner selves, to going down to that deep root chakra, the deepest part of ourselves. The deepest, like I said, those parts of us that we don't let come forward into the light. Bring them forth now. All parts of you must be brought forth. The anger, the jealousy, the abandonment, all the feelings of whatever make you feel small. Anything that you're holding on to that just doesn't serve you must be let go. It might be hard. But do that. If anybody wants to have that, I will type it up for the Rumi guidebook, what was written in there, to work as a ritual, or just keep re-listening to that part where I read that and write it down for yourself. But we do have a great opportunity here to, whenever those moments come up, that those feelings, those parts of us are overwhelming, rather than integrating and allowing us to rise above, in order to rise above the fray, we need to collaborate with those parts of ourselves to be in beauty, to walk in grace, to be in the light, to bring it forward into the light. They're not bad parts of yourself. They're there for a reason. And just like I said, this opposite side of Libra energy is where we allow things to, Librans can always be seen as, not choosing one way or the other, and kind of letting people run all over them. But that's not true. When you're in your more gracious portion of that, you are holding your line. You are able to maintain the boundaries and to feel whole, and allowing all parts of you to come forward unconditionally. So loving all parts unconditionally. Our ability to love everybody unconditionally and to have those true partnerships absolutely begins with being able to love and accept every part of ourselves. I love you. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the weekend.